Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Series 2-pack Amazon exclusive Doctor Strange, Wong and Bats, and Doctor Strange. So this is one that I think was originally supposed to come in November or maybe late October, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, by the way, we're shipping it out soon. So I just got it from Amazon this evening, and I'm pretty excited about it. This Doctor Strange we have similar Doctor Strange figures. You know, we had the Walmart exclusive, which was a very good Doctor Strange, but the only thing lacking about this guy is he had the old legs with the pins. This new one has pinless legs, which is similar to the Spider-Man the Animated Series version that we got here. So this new one is kind of in between. We get a new cape again, for the third time in a row with the Doctor Strange. Actually, I don't know if this one was reused from previous Doctor Strange. We've had a number of Doctor Strange figures over the years, but that one has a new cape that looks a little bit more flowing in the wind. But we have our first comic Wong figure and Bats, which I guess is the ghost dog. I'm not really familiar, but we'll check him out. We get some magic effect pieces in there, and we got a Dormammu head for Doctor Strange, and I don't really know what that's all about, but let's go ahead and take a look. We got the Sanctum Sanctorum logo window thing there. We get some side the side artwork is actually the same as these two. We got Doctor Strange, and he's got the Dormammu head going on there, and then we've got Wong. So there we go, Amazon exclusive. Not sure if it's currently available. I have a link in the video description below if you're looking to pick one up if you didn't pre-order it, but here we go. Before we get into the video, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. My goal is to hit 50,000 subs by the end of 2024, and with all of your guys' help, we are inching our way closer. We're less than 3,000 to go as of right now, 47,287. You guys have been rocking it, but please, if you haven't already done so, please make sure hit that subscribe button now. Okay, so here we have our 2-pack, 3-pack? You call it a 3-pack? Bats is listed on there on the front. I consider it a 2-pack. Bats is a glorified accessory because he doesn't move or anything, and he's just on this little flight stand piece. And he's just kind of chilling there. He's, yeah. It's cool looking, though. There's some cool stuff that they got going on there. I don't know if it's a little bit of paint, I guess, for his nose, and I don't know how they did the darker green and the lighter green in there, so that's kind of cool how they did that. But anyway, we got Wong and we got Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a good one. And the magic effect pieces and everything like that, we've seen these before. These are like the MCU versions, and these look really good. Wong is going to be a surprising hit of this 2-pack. I think a lot of people are excited for the Wong figure, but you know, Doctor Strange I think is the more recognizable comic book character. But Wong is definitely a good figure. Doctor Strange, we've basically seen it before. Nothing really new going on there. But Wong, lots of cool stuff. We get some new hands, which are really cool. So I'll get into that as we take a look at Wong, because he's the one that's really loaded with the accessories. You know, he's the one that's got 1, 2, 3 sets of hands plus these magic effect hands, so that's like 4 in total, whereas Doctor Strange just has the ones that he's got on there and then the magic hands. He's got the extra Dormammu head sculpt in there, but that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and zoom in for a closer look at Bats. We'll get him out of the way, take a look at Doctor Strange, get him out of the way, and then we'll focus on Wong, because surprise hit of the 2-pack for sure. Okay, so here is Bats, the ghost dog, and that looks pretty good. We get a little bit of paint on there for his nose and his eyes, and I don't know if I guess it'd be paint because it looks a little bit shinier, whereas the rest of the body is just kind of matte. But we get some dark spots on there that are a little bit green, and we got a little curve to his tail. That looks pretty good. You just peg it. It's got a peg hole down there at the bottom, so you just get the flight stand, or, well, I guess it's a flight stand for him. He's flying. We've seen this with, like, head pool, and some of the other things where we just get, like, an extra floating head. Cubit, whatever that came with Nova. So there, that is Bats. Now let's go to Doctor Strange. Okay, so here is the Doctor Strange with the Dormammu head sculpt, and this thing pisses me off. You see, because he can stand, but the way the cape is designed, so it's flowing and it kind of goes back, plus it's heavy, so it really becomes back heavy, so trying to get him to stand flat feet, so you either have to lean him forward to get, it doesn't look like he's leaning forward, but he's really leaning forward. You know, I think that's a better look there. So he just wants to fall backwards all the time, and that kind of drives me crazy. And then this is one of those capes, you're not going to be able to remove that unless you pop the glue there at the Eye of Agamotto there. So anyway, the Doctor Strange, the Dormammu head sculpt, we just have the orange, you know, flame effect piece in there. This, you know, head piece is black, and then the Dormammu face is orange. It had a rubber band on it holding this piece in place, It does come off very easily right there, like just under the chin. It just pegs right into the flame effect, and it holds on there fairly well, but it can pop off pretty easily. And then one thing is weird, it just has this like huge hole in there, and it doesn't really pop onto the neck peg. It could sit on there, but it's not really secured on there, if that makes sense. It just almost rests in there a little bit. So kind of weird. And then this keeps, this keeps coming off. There. But let's get the Doctor Strange head sculpt on there, because this thing looks really good. He's very menacing looking. Looks like he's a little possessed or something's going on there, right? As you can see there with his eyes and his pale skin. But that looks really good. I like the way it looks. It is the same head sculpt, however, so there's nothing new going on there. It's just the paint deco is different, so that kind of looks good. The cape, as you can see, it's very flowing off, and it kind of goes back a little bit, curves in a little bit here. He's got the yellow sash. He's got the dark blue tunic right there with the symbol being white. His gloves are yellow with some of the looks almost like Kirby Crackle-like, but a little bit of orange spots in there. It doesn't really have like the leopard print. I don't think it was supposed to be leopard print, but the little dots that we have on that more classic one, you just get a little bit of orange dots in there, not a whole lot going on there. Essentially the same figure, but again, we have pinless legs this time, pinless knees, and they're done in a dark gray, whereas before, we had black in color. And then the Spider-Man the Animated Series does have the same pinless legs, but were more black in color, but we didn't get the bottom portion to the tunics for the tunic, since it was a animated series version. But essentially the same thing that we've seen a couple of times, so nothing real new, just the deco is new, and the deco, his head sculpt, he does look really good. Now on to Wong. Okay, here we go. We have Wong here, and this looks really good. I like the way that came out. The digital face print looks really good. Sculpted, looks like a real person. They did a great job. The figure is, the top half is something that I would say is going to be unique to Wong. I don't see them reusing this. And we got some cool things. We got butterfly joints on there. We got a diaphragm cut. It doesn't these don't work out real well, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. So that is a little bit tricky, because you just don't get a lot of movement going back. You just don't get a lot of movement coming forward, or anything like that. Looking at his accessories, we got the magic effect pieces. They're just a yellow translucent plastic. We get a nice orange outline in the design of the magic spells, and then you can see the hands are painted the skin tone to match Wong. I didn't show this with the Doctor Strange, but the purple magic effect pieces, we just get this like nice pink paint that's added in there in the outline, and then the hands are yellow, obviously for his gloves. So that is pretty cool. I like the way those look. So yeah, there we have Wong. But his hands are really cool. So here's what we got for his hands. Let me pull these. Let me look. We got, okay, so these are like grip hands, but not quite grip, as you can see the way his thumb is positioned. So these are kind of, he's a trained fighter, martial arts. So looking at those hands there. Then we get these open hands here. Whoops. As you can see there. And these actually feel a little small, which is kind of weird. But we have those open hands there. And then we get these ones. And I don't think we've seen these before. I may have to check if we got these with like the Shang-Chi figures. And I don't think we did. But we also have these. And these look pretty cool there. So those are our hands, and then of course the magic one. So looking at Wong, he's just got all green suit here, a little bit of light green for those socks, and then he's got these feet, these shoes. I guess I don't know what they're called. There, looks pretty good. Nothing else going on in terms of paint or anything like that. Just at the end of his sleeves, they're painted yellow. But there we go. The head sculpt, fantastic. Let's go ahead and check out how Doctor Strange and Wong move. Okay, articulation time. Bats can swivel on his stand. That is all he can do. Let's take a look at Wong first, since Wong's the one that I think a lot of us are going to be interested in. So I looked it up a little bit. These hands, I believe, are the same the hands that actually came with like Shang-Chi from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So the MCU hands there, that's what we got these. So they're not new. We have seen them before, but they do look good, and we haven't gotten them very often. This is only the second time, so that's why they feel new. So Wong can look up a pretty decent amount on that dumbbell joint on his neck, but looking down is a little bit of a challenge, as you can see there. You get a full rotation in that head, and then you can get some good pivot to make some gestures there, which is great. The arm you can get to go straight on out like so. You get a full rotation in there. We get the butterfly joint, but it does not go back a whole lot. So that's just kind of down, and then back is not a lot. And then cross body, some, not a huge amount, as you can see there. You got the upper bicep swivel in there. Double jointed pinless elbow gives you that much bend there at the elbow. And his arm sleeves are pretty thick, so the bend is pretty ugly. We tend to see that when it comes to like the thicker sleeves. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge on all of his hands. And one cool thing about, by the way, is if you look in the sleeve, that wrist has a separate section in there, so you can get the flesh tone color of his wrist in his sleeves in there. So kind of cool that they did that. We have a diaphragm cut on this guy, so Wong can tilt to his left that much there. Not too bad. He could tilt to his right that much there. You can go back only a little, and then you can come forward very, very little there. You get a swivel at that diaphragm. There is no waist swivel on this guy. This tunic is a rubber piece, that rubber overlay piece, but there's still no waist swivel in there, so you can't really move that around a whole lot. The legs, however, you get a fair amount of separation in there, so they go that far apart. The tunic is kind of cut on the sides there, so it doesn't limit articulation too much. Kicking forward, he can kick forward that far. It does limit because of that tunic right there in the front. And then he can kick back a little bit. You got an upper thigh cut in there, double jointed pinless knee, pretty good bend there at the knee. Let's see if we have this. Is there a swivel in there? No, it's actually like a separate piece, but there is no swivel at that calf. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So pretty good or decent articulation for Wong. The diaphragm cut continues to be a challenge for Hasbro in getting good range of motion in there. But we have butterfly joints, although they're not super effective. Still a pretty good effort figure there in comparison to what some of the stuff that we've gotten before. Doctor Strange, however, because it's basically a figure we've gotten a couple of times now, there's not a whole lot that can be good other than, hey, we got pinless, but the animated series, Spider-Man the Animated Series, VHS Doctor Strange had that. Looking up is a challenge. He can't really look up. It's on a hinge, but the color of the cloak of levitation is going to hinder that. He can't look up because of the collar piece in there. You just can't get it to work. Yeah, well, I guess you kind of could, but you can get him to look down, which is good. As you can see there, you can do a full rotation in there. There's some pivot in that neck, as you can see there. The shoulder, you can get his left shoulder all the way up. The right shoulder is going to be an issue because the cape drapes over his right shoulder, so you're not going to be able to really get that one up. You would be able to do full rotation, but it does get in the way. You have a single jointed elbow with a swivel at the elbow, and then you can get 90-degree bend at that elbow, maybe just a tad bit more. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge on the two spellcast hands that he's got, and then the actual spell hands you can see there. He's got those. Ab crunch on Doctor Strange, so he can crunch forward a little bit, as you can see there. It does go back a little bit, but the way the cape is, it's just he's never going to stand that way. So just heads up on that. You got a waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart there. It is cut on this side, not on this side, so that's why the left leg can go out a little bit more than the right leg. He can kick forward that far because it does get hindered a little bit. Leg goes back a little bit. You got an upper thigh cut in there, double jointed pinless knee, like so. You got the calf swivel, mid calf, which is good. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So nothing new when it comes to Doctor Strange. In fact, it's just more difficult to balance him because he just wants to fall back because the cape is very heavy. So you have to get him into certain types of poses where he's kind of leaning forward so he doesn't fall back. So there we go. Okay, so for side-by-side comparisons here, again, this Doctor Strange next to the Spider-Man the Animated Series Doctor Strange, next to the Walmart exclusive Doctor Strange. So if you don't have the Walmart exclusive one, this is a good pickup, sure. But, you know, the Walmart exclusive has, I would say, more classic colors, although the centerpiece, you know, being white would have been a little bit better. But it does have pins on the legs, not that they're gummy or anything like that, but the more relaxed cape also stands up a little bit better, in my opinion. So it's just kind of preference, I guess. But this one is a good Doctor Strange figure. Okay, so this is actually a fun little tidbit. So I looked it up. So Doctor Strange issue number 3, the cover art is the artwork that we actually see on the package that has, you know, Doctor Strange there with the Dormammu head sculpt. So he in the panels of the book, Dormammu does not take over Doctor Strange. So I guess that head coming with it is just either for to replicate the cover art, or so you could put it on a different figure. In that issue, he actually took over some random person in a suit. So I grabbed a Happy Hogan figure that was nearby and stuck that Dormammu head sculpt on there. And then they can walk around New York, have their day of truce, and discuss whatever it is they talked about. I didn't read the issue, so I don't know exactly what they talk about. But, you know, I think one funny line is like, Doctor Strange says, "You're killing me," and then Dormammu's like, "Well, yeah, even if it's a cold war, it's still a war. People die in war." I thought that was kind of a funny little line, but with that head sculpt, you could do something like this. So if you have an extra suited body, you can, you know, recreate some scenes from that particular book. Okay, an MCU Wong next to the new comic book Wong figure, and yeah, the comic figure is a lot better than the MCU one. The MCU one was pretty disappointing. I just love that we got a Wong figure, but could have been better. But this comic one, way nicer for sure. You know what? Posing these figures around is actually a whole lot of fun. Not that I'm very good at it, or not that I can really, in my mind, just think of a pose and kind of get the figure into it. It takes me a lot of creative work that that doesn't come naturally. I have to like look at images and stuff, but I try to piece some things together, and just kind of playing around with them is actually a whole lot of fun. I love the magic effect pieces, you know, because it's part of the hand, so it's on there, and they just look so good. When initially they first did it with Marvel Legends, Hasbro did one where it had a grip peg, so you can put it in a grip hand and do that. But with these being actually part of the hands, it just makes it so much nicer. And the fact that we got a set for Wong, we got a set for Doctor Strange in the nice purple color, I like the pattern and the paint that they added to it. Just really good. A whole lot of fun with these figures. That's a first, getting him to fall forward. Usually he wants to fall back, but the way I have his ankles. But yeah, just a whole lot of fun factor with this 2-pack, and I think that's what we want out of these action figures. Sometimes it's a matter of just, you know, having the character in your collection, or just, you know, having the figure because you like them, you think they look cool, but sometimes just messing around with them, posing them around, that's a whole lot of fun. And then depending on the space that you have on the shelf, if you can have it in a pose, that would be even better. I'm beyond that. You know, my D-tops are all completely packed. It's just kind of ridiculous because the figures never stop. But I am having a lot of fun just kind of messing with these here for you guys right now here in the video. Just yeah, the Wong figure is a surprise hit. I think a lot of people that may, you know, be passing on this 2-pack for now are, you know, they're missing out on a really fun figure in Wong. I get not needing another Doctor Strange, but man, this Wong figure is something I don't see them ever releasing on its own. So, you know, if you need a Wong figure, or just want a fun, you know, figure, this one to pick up for sure. Okay, so super fun 2-pack / 3-pack, because if you include bats. Amazon exclusive, link in the video description below. Hopefully it's available if you guys are interested in picking it up. Definitely a fun set, one that I think is a lot more fun than people may think. Wong is an awesome figure. The Doctor Strange is cool. I like the Dormammu head a little bit more now that I know that, you know, you could pop it onto a different body to recreate some stuff from the particular book where it makes sense. So it's not just like a random thing that they included in there. The magic effect pieces are always really nice. I like the painted detail that they actually put on there that really gets it to stand out. So it's really nice. You guys guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of this Doctor Strange and Wong 2-pack/3-pack with bats? Fun set for sure. Even though Wong doesn't have super articulation in terms of the diaphragm cut and the butterfly joints, he can get into some decent movements. The legs move around quite well. And definitely a whole lot of fun. So you guys let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Help me get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And as always, guys, thank you for all your support, and thank you for watching.